Good afternoon, teacher. We are the group number 2. We are talk about ethnography and action research. Participants are Abu Danet, Yaritza Angulo, Paola Arias, Joel Ayala, y Danilo Bedón. Who was the pioneer? The pioneer of demography is a complex field, has a long and multifaceted history. However, we are the keywords. Early contributors. Gerda Feder-Muller developed the concept that demography is discrete in the 8th century. Framboise, pioneer modern anthropological fieldwork emphasized participants' observation and cultural relativism. Important scientific aspects collectively contribute instinctively to shaping modern ethnography and anthropological thinking, specific areas of interest and contemporary ethnography. Considerations. Different regions and disciplines contribute to ethnography practice, making it difficult to single out the single pioneer. Ethnography, numerous scholars and research have shaped the field, making it more accurate, adding no various influence figures. Evolution, the field ethnography has continually and evolved throughout history. Many pioneering figures emerge in different areas. Thank you.
First, a statement of the research question and the objectives of through ethnography research. The ethnography research process requires information to be analyzed as part of the scientific process that such practice entails. 2. Determine information collection techniques. The ethnography research process requires information to be analyzed as part of the scientific process that such practice entails. Therefore, it is necessary to collect information for subscale analysis, participant observation, the interview. 3. Selection of the localizations and access to the file. The selection of the localization responds to a series of criteria. Research questions, what you want to investigate, the time period that can be dedicated to file work. It is important to raise at this point the difference between file and stage. 4. Selection of informants. 5. Information collection. The information collection phase represents the bulk of the research itself. 6. Analysis of the data obtained. And finally, 7. Presentation of results like a summary, introduction of the research, review of publications, methodological review, results report, analysis of conclusions, and bibliography.
Key features. Ethnography. The ethnography is a qualitative research method used primarily for social sciences and anthropology. Among its key characteristics, we can find that ethnography helps us study different cultures, communities, and also human behaviors. In the same way, ethnography carries out its research from within and at the time of data analysis. Its analysis is reflexibility and contextualizing all the data of time. Finally, as another key characteristic, this type of qualitative research must always be aware of linguistic practice.
Okay, now we're going to talk about the disadvantages of this type of ethnography. We have the subjectivity and bias. Ethnography research heavily relies on the researcher's interpretation of the culture being studied. This subjectivity can introduce bias, as the researcher's personal experiences and perspectives may influence the analysis. We also have the time-consuming, when ethnography often requires a prolonged engagement with the community or group under study. This can be time-consuming and may not be feasible in certain situations where researchers are constrained by time or resources. We also have the generalization challenges when critics argue that findings and from ethnography studies may not be easily generalizable to larger populations. The in-depth context-specific nature of ethnography may limit the application of findings beyond the studied group. And finally, we have the observer effect, when the presence of the ethnographer can alter the natural behavior of the group being studied, known as the observer effect. Participants may modify their actions or behaviors consciously or unconsciously, leading to an inaccurate representation of their normal conduct.
Research. Who was the pioneer? Which is a research method that aims to simultaneously investigate and solve an issue. Action research is tricky, is a development involves several key figures and involves considerable over time. Early founders, Kurt Lewin. Kurt Lewin, a social psychology recognizing as a pivotal figure and laying the groundwork for in the 40s. He faces the cyclical nature of research planning, action, observe, and reflection. John Dewey, an American philosopher and education reformer who advocated of learning through experience and interconnects the theory and practice, a specific tour of the school, involving practitioners and school directly in research process. Contemporary applications focus on collective learning, knowledge creation through shared exploration and action. Participatory action research. Explore the different approach with action research, choose a critical action research and participatory action research, each with on the figures and contributors. Practical action research. Propose of change, engage in action, observe results, and reflect on action. Consider how action research is being used today at various fields, such as education, healthcare, and organization development. Thank you.
In the action research cycle, we have planning, doing, thinking, and theorizing. In the planning is identifying strategies for informing participation, knowledge sharing, and repair design. In doing, we have conducting the hackathon, doing collective design, and thinking, observing and reflecting on events, gathering and reducing data is the first step of qualitative analysis by taking records of ideas, design, and test. And finally, theorizing. We have displaying data and drawing conclusions to answers, the second and the third step of qualitative analysis.
Hello, teacher. I am going to about the advantage. Previous details information about how people use products. Information where is on the tablet, the proposal of ethnography. Since its students provide much more information that could be obtained through documentary sources or other types of research. This is based on the assumption that only banks within a human group can the social and cultural reality of what happens be fully referred to and described. It is one of the most used market research methods that allow manufacturers and retailers to better understand consumer needs and behavior. Its usefulness lies in its ability to dive close to producers and sellers about the product that consumer wants. It provides detailed information about how people use a product. Thank you.
Now, for the advantages of the action research, we have the potential for hard-turn effect. In this part, the action research involves active engagement with the participants And this can sometimes lead to a hardening effect when participants modify their behavior because they are aware of being observed or studied. This can compromise the authenticity of data, and we can have the resource intensive. The action research often requires a significant investment of time, money, and human resources. Implementing and evaluating changes in real-world settings can be challenging and may demand more resources than traditional research methods. The ethical challenges is when the involvement of the researchers is implementing changes with the community raises ethical concerns. This line between researcher and practitioner can become blurred, potentially leading to conflicts and interest of unintended consequences. We also have the lack of the objectivity when the action research is generally participating. Researchers may become emotionally invested in the outcomes. This emotional involvement can compromise objectivity and introduce bias in the analysis of results.